This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, the Game Boy Geek here. We're going to try to take chips over today, and we're going to be trying to get some goods on there for ourselves, and we're going to be trying to bet and win some points by betting on others. Today we're talking about Vikings on Board. This is the big box game for Blue Orange Games. Last year they came out with New York 1901. This year it's Vikings on Board. It's a 2 to 4 player worker placement family style game for it takes about 45 to 60 minutes. Let me show you how it's played. I don't often show inserts, but this one is absolutely gorgeous. All the pieces go places, the little counters go places, and when you lift this up, all of the ships are already put together for you. You don't have to do any assembly, and they all fit in here perfectly. Awesome insert. I also love it when people put stuff on the back of the board. It doesn't really do anything, but it looks nice and shows in with the extra mile in production. At the beginning of the game, you get to pick your color, an animal essentially. You get to take Vikings of your color, anywhere between 2 and 4 of them, depending on the amount of players, and you'll take 4 bidding chips that will be flipped over and kept secret throughout the game. Now here we have the board set up for 4 players. All the ships are out there, semi-randomly set up. Same with the players here with the 4 players. Now check out these ships in a closer vantage point. Now look at these ships from back all the way through the middle into the front. These are just gorgeous pieces of art. Over the course of the game, it's a worker placement where you'll be placing your workers on different spots on the board and carrying out actions, but you're trying to control the ships. Because different goods will be added to the ships, and you're trying to have the most shields of your color be on the ship and try to get it to go away with you winning those goods. And you'll also be betting for points as to which player you think is going to actually be the one to win that ship and the goods on there. Now how a round works is you'll go from this right to left in turn order, and this player will be able to select any of the spots here and they will carry out the action. Once everybody has moved and carried out their actions, normally what happens is this guy, the leader will move over here, and then from here to here, you'll move over here. So it's the same actions in each spot, you're just moving back and forth as the different rounds go. These being less strong actions, but being quicker in turn order, where if you pick some of these stronger actions, you'll be later in turn order in the next round. Let me go over the different actions. If you go here, this is just gonna give you first in turn order next round. If you went here, this allows you to essentially move any of the pieces that's yours to the front of the same boat. So for example, this blue player wants to move this one from any of the pieces to the front of the same boat, and that's because the number of shields tells you who has control of the boat. These two are tied for the amount of shields. It's basically 3, but now the blue player would be winning this boat because he's in the front, even though it's tied. This spot allows this player to move any of his pieces to the back of a different boat. So maybe this yellow player really wants this boat for some reason. He could take his back piece, put it here. Now he has 3 plus 2. He has 5 shields on this boat. And the most of these pieces there can be on any boat is 5. There's 4 right now. It could hold 1 more. Now if the red player went here, this allows them to make a bet. If you remember, each player has these betting tokens. They range from 1 to 4. They would secretly place it on the color that they think is going to win this. Well, yellow just stuck up here for 5 shields, so he thinks yellow's going to win this one, so he would place his bet here, and you can't bump anybody off or go in a spot that anybody else is. If yellow does indeed end up winning this ship, this player's going to get whatever they place there, which in this case is 4 points. Now let's say the other red guy moves here. Now you can move anywhere. I'm just kind of putting them here to show you what the different actions do. This one allows you to take a good off of this, look at it, and then place it on any of the boats. The red player, he's winning here with 3, so he will put this grain here like this into this boat. So this boat has a grain. Now this spot here allows you to move any of these up 1, and right now they all start at 1 each. But now let's say he saw red took grain, so he doesn't want to put that up. Maybe he puts nails up to 2. At the end of the game, wherever these are, that's how much each of those resources are worth at the end of the game that you have actually scored. Now if you went here, you can take anybody's piece and move it to the back of a different boat instead of just your own. So the blue player wanted to take over this ship again, and so he took this yellow guy's and put it over there, which now means that blue is now leading that boat. There's only one boat with some goods, but maybe Blue wants to move his own back here. He can move anybody's to the back of this boat, but in this case he wants to move his own, so now he has the lead of that ship. If you go here, you can make a bet or you can move a bet. So for example, the green player could make a bet here for the yellow players are going to win this one, or if he had already had a bet, he can move it to a different place or a different boat if he would like to. If you went here, you get to take the top 3 resources, you get to look at them, and you get to decide which one to use. These ones would go on the bottom, and then you would get to actually place this on any of the boats. Now you could put it on a boat that already has a resource. You can have more than one, but most of the time they end up going on boats by themselves. If you go here, you get to add a tail to a boat, and we know that that boat is going to sort of move out of shore at the end of the turn. So the blue player puts the tail here because he's already winning this boat, and now that boat is going to sail off at the end of the round. And if you go here, you can take any piece from one boat and swap it exactly with the spot of any piece in a different boat. So if it was the green player, maybe he swaps these 2 pieces so that now green can control the boat that has the next good on it. Now at the end of the round, if this had not happened, if the boat was not leaving port, essentially you would just move this leader over here, and starting from this side again going down, everyone would get to pick their actions in that order. But before that happens, if someone has placed this, that player will get to move the boat out and it will score. In this case it would move out and blue would win because blue has 4 shields, red has 3, this has 2. If there was more than one good, it would go first player, then the second place, then third place. We get to take them in that order for as many goods as there. But right now, there's one good. So this would go out to make you see that that's gone. Now, anybody that bid, for example, if green had bid that blue was going to win this, they get to keep this face down, and they would put it right on their scorecard, which is this in front of them. This would be in front of them, and they don't show anybody. They go like that. If he had bid on somebody else, it would just stay there because later on he can take that action to move this to a different boat. This continues round for round until 7 of the 8 boats are gone, and that would complete the end of the game. And at that end of the game, you would flip over any bids that you got correctly, and then you would add up how much the goods are. So 4 and 1 is 5, plus the nails is 2, that's 7, plus 2 of these, which are 4 each. That's a total of 15. I would have 15. You'd add them up. Whoever has the most is the winner. If it's tied, you go to whoever has the most resource tokens. And if it's still tied, it's the one who has the most points from the supplied tokens. And if there's still a tie after that, you share the victory. Well, last year, Blue Orange came out with New York 1901 with their first ever big box game, and a lot of people really raved about that game. It was a good family weight game. This year, this is their one big box game, Vikings on board, so what do I think about it? First of all, knocked it out of the park for the production value. I showed you the insert, I showed you the components. Man, this game, you're getting a lot in this box for what this game is worth. Tons of thumbs up for the production quality, the artwork, all that stuff in this game. It really makes the game a lot more fun than it probably would have been because moving those ships around is a lot of fun. Now this is basically, I would call it a gateway-ish style game. Maybe it's a little lighter than New York 1901. You got to learn all the actions, but they're pretty simple. This is a pretty simple worker placement game, but that area control element makes it so it's pretty mean. Just know that since it is a family level game, if you're playing with the little people that are younger, they might, if they don't like the fact when you steal their thing or swap their thing or thwart their plans, this might not be the game for you. It's a very tactical game versus strategic. You're constantly figuring out what's the best thing I can do now, what actions are still available, can I do something to get myself a ship and some goods this turn, or if I do this, somebody else might ruin this for me later down the road. So you're always, on edge and deciding what you're going to do this second. So it's not very strategic right now. It's just, boom, what am I going to do right now? There is lots of messing people over. The bidding aspect is pretty cool. A lot of times you can get as much, if not more, from your bidding than you can from the good that's on there by the end of the game. So that's a good aspect of, hey, am I going to go for the ships? Am I going to put stuff over? Or am I going to slide in there and bid? I like how you can move your bid. So overall, I thought this was a good game. It didn't totally blow me away, but again, the production value and having on the table and staring at it and moving the pieces made the experience, the sum of the parts, better. I felt like this game, all of it together made it a really fun game that I'd want to come back and play. Now with that being said, I'm not sure this game has the depth and the replayability that say maybe New York 1901 had with all the different changing special goals and hidden goals and stuff like that. Where this, I think it would not last quite as long with quite as many plays because you're pretty much doing the same thing every time. And the game gets slightly less interesting with less players. 4 is the best. you're fighting over, you're only getting 2 guys per round, and you really got to think for those actions, where 2's a lot more open, but you're fighting against players that don't exist, which still hurts other players. It's not terrible, it works, but it's just, I think it's best with 3 or 4. So overall, I think it's a solid effort. The production value is going to bring people in. You can probably enjoy this game, although I'm not sure it's going to be one that you'll be playing 20 or more times because of the replayability, but it's definitely one to think about. It's definitely a good family weight sort of gateway style worker placement game with some meanness of area control, and if that's what you're looking for, then Viking on Board is one that you'll want to check out.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.